Religious belief is the most amorphic English term used in the scientific investigation of religion. Lest you think my disparaging claim is merely semantic, I will explain in this video why reliance on beliefs as scientifically useful data mischaracterizes religion during its long history. Even though beliefs are intrinsically unverifiable, they have been considered in scientific scholarship to ab initio either cause or at least chaperone the practice of religion. Why would most scientific thinkers assume that religion must be ordered by unascertainable beliefs? The answer is the mistaken notion that religious behaviors must be a consequence of previously conceived beliefs. As 19th century ethnographer John Tyler wrote about tribal religion, belief is the theory and worship is the practice. Put another way, he and others assume that plainly visible actions must have been initiated and supported by pre-established beliefs, even though they cannot be seen, quantified, or falsified. This video is my attempt to show why evolutionary scientists have erroneously and uncritically assumed that religious beliefs are essential to a scientific analysis of religion. My evolution-based answer depends on this question. Would religion in the Pleistocene era, 40,000 years ago, have been similar to that of Western modernity? If not, in what ways might it have been different? My interpretation will construct the nature of religion, past and present, using a Darwinian model that explains how modern religions are very different from religions practiced by our ancestors long ago. I will not argue that ancient religion was divorced from the mind, rather that the new word beliefs is a modern construct that, when projected backwards into early religion, greatly distorts the scientific interpretation of its very nature. In modern context, the term religious beliefs suggests decision-making, religious affiliation being selected voluntarily. Accordingly, people make a dyadic choice based on free will to be either believers or non-believers. It is then presumed that if their choice is to believe, individuals select a belief system that reflects their own perspective. As clusters of reified abstractions, religious beliefs exist to be adopted or rejected. It is thought that this process of evaluation and selection enables religious life to begin and endure among the believers in a population. But beliefs thought to inhabit the minds of religious folk are themselves unascertainable by the senses. In most social scientific work on the subject, religious believing is supposedly confirmed by verbal or written answers to survey questions. So in asking questions about its beliefs, surveys rely on answers as ambiguous as a desert mirage. In what is considered the marketplace of religious ideas, people can report they believe something, but how can anyone know that their response is not just a reflection of the image they wish to project? Just as hearsay evidence in a court trial is inadmissible, self-reported beliefs are unreliably soft data for studies presumed to be scientific. The following fanciful scenario, written by a well-known evolutionary psychologist, half-jokingly contrives a religious interchange during the Pleistocene era. Imagine, he writes, some young hominids huddling around a campfire. They get into an argument about the nature of the world and start holding forth, displaying their ideologies. One of them proposes, "We are mortal, fallible primates. Everywhere we have ever traveled is just a tiny, random corner of a vast continent on an unimaginably huge sphere spinning in a vacuum. The sphere has traveled billions and billions of times around a flaming ball of gas, which will eventually blow up to incinerate our empty fossilized skulls. I have discovered several compelling lines of evidence in support of these hypotheses." Then one of the others interrupts, "No, I believe we are immortal spirits gifted with beautiful bodies because the great god Wug chose us as his favorite creatures. Wug blessed us with this fertile paradise that provides just enough challenges to keep things interesting. After we grow old, Wug will lift us from these bodies to join our friends to eat roasted gazelle and dance eternally. I know these things because Wug picked me to receive this special wisdom in a dream. Although this silly caricature of religion is only partially serious, even imagining this interchange is itself revealing. Does anyone honestly think religion in antiquity consisted of theological debates around the campfire? Why do so many scientists act as if rationalized, two-dimensional simplifications of religion were even possible tens of thousands of years ago? In the beginning, they proclaim, were irrational beliefs and mythologies. Why do so many evolutionists explain religion as if it has always been about those who believe and those who are skeptical? Could their careless mischaracterization reflect the divide between religion and secularism familiar to Western scientists today, a divide that never existed in religious antiquity? The truth is that today's secular rejection of supernaturalism is so new that it should be understood as immaterial to Darwinian analysis. Believing as a marker for religion is as tenuous in evolutionary studies as is metaphysics to physical science. Until very recently, and only in Western culture, religious affiliation was no more optional than choosing one's ancestors. Religion always has and still does run in families. The word religion is from the Latin religare, meaning tightly bound to obligation. In the common vernacular, doing something religiously means habitually. Whether a person is tightly bound to religion is judged by careful observation of his actions to determine his devotion to the traditions of his ancestors. Because they are mental constructs, beliefs can never be judged by others. We can only watch behavior and rightly or wrongly assume they are instigated by beliefs. But what if we are only able to judge based on behavior in any case? What do we gain by inferring beliefs as the cause? Why can we not just judge behaviors at face value? Scientists presuming the authority of beliefs is like religious folk presuming that the supernatural is in charge of everything we do. The ex machina ghosts that control our very action. Whether beliefs as abstractions exist in the minds of religious folk is scientifically unknowable and, I would argue, superfluous to modeling religion for evolutionary interpretation. Finally, the question arises, if evolutionists refer in their analysis to beliefs, even in passing, why should it matter? Here's my answer. If religion historically were in essence about beliefs, the existence of a belief would be subject to the skepticism of practitioners. But the truth is that religion is based on the claim that traditions of ancestors are inherited by their living descendants. Fealty to traditions has nothing to do with traditions being believable. A communicated claim is very different from a belief, because communicated claims are fully verifiable. Since tradition-based religions are lived and not ideological, beliefs constitute a non-scientific, superfluous intrusion. Inherent in the word tradition is a powerful authority that descendants have historically trusted. As a characteristic of religion, trust is of ancient coinage. Belief is a word of recent vintage derived from a unique religion, Christianity, also of recent vintage. In conclusion, when scientists in general, and evolutionists in particular, have in their minds that beliefs are essential ingredients in religion, they enable themselves scientifically to psychologize religion as if it exists between the ears of those who practice it. For those evolutionists who dislike religion, beliefs as primary elements furnishes the basis for trivializing and even demonizing religion as a prosaic residual of human irrationality. If the centrality of beliefs were removed as a causal agent, most scientists would have a hard time evaluating religion for what it really has been, loyalty by descendants to the behavioral mandates of their inspired ancestors. It is unfortunate that in today's scientific discourse, understanding of and respect for religion is sorely lacking. Thank you for tuning in.